Hello, faithful propagandists, fellow mega nerd propagandy fans. It is I, your faithful former co-host, Keith Goff, checking in from my own failed state. How are you? I miss you. I miss us. Interestingly and coincidentally enough, this week, I cited myself vis-a-vis the podcast for my own graduate research and listening back to the hidden curriculum episode, which I didn't even really remember being on, and how my thoughts about that topic have expanded and matured, and how bizarre it was to hear myself. But also, I have to tell you, I feel a sense of relief not being on my own self-imposed public record of buffoonery, hot takes, and or mistakes by putting out my own thoughts and reflections about such challenging topics for the interwebs to pore over and pick apart. I have a lot fewer acid reflux attacks now than I did 5 years ago, I tell you that. Anyway, there's a new propaganda song. Did you hear it? Of course you did. Or maybe you are delaying gratification, and if you are, I doff my hat to you, but not me. Forgive me, Jord, for I hath pirated. I found a download on Reddit via LimeWire earlier this week, because apparently it's 2003 again, and I listened to the song just a couple hours earlier than I was supposed to. So let's talk about it. I love the main riff and how it evolves, and especially how it reappears. The guitar tone is thick and organic sounding, precise but not overly processed or artificial. I like the initial lower register and timbre of the vocals, and then how they shift in pitch and volume. The might be one of the best metallic bleh or ooh or whatever metallic grunts I've heard in ages, and there's really been a sharp increase of them the last 10 years or so. I love the lyrics. They're introspective and reflective, honest and vulnerable, poignant and personable. The contradiction of being at peace while at the same time that blinding rage that's described, like accepting things that aren't going to change, but still not refusing to give up or give in. That contradiction continues with perhaps one of the most poetic and beautiful lyrics in the song, if not of like the band's entire discography, about the liminal state after death, which contrasts with the Sharpie and the Arby's quips. I love the big guitar lead after convulsed with grief, the really big fills and the emphatic drums that stress the emotion of the lyrics, and the expressive bass that adds an air of melody and almost an additional layer of like reflection, as if Todd's playing is also expressing the inability to make sense of the world. Bruce Coburn's lyrics and that final yell are incredible, especially the way that main riff comes back with a new chugging pattern, making it even heavier. And that song, and discovering that song because of this new track, At Peace, and verbalizing my own personal struggles with the world around me, which conflicts with or contradicts my son's genuine curiosity or sense of interest, and genuine interests and sense of innocence as well. Especially, I think, maybe even like a sense of like guilt I feel because of our own isolation from everything, from most things. That's a feeling that has really been gnawing at me lately. And the song captures that, as well as the Bruce Coburn song that it makes reference to. And that self-reflection, I think, is just profound, and it feels good to feel not alone in that way, even if the feeling itself is not good. This is a remarkable song, and I've had to make myself like not listen to it too much on repeat in fear of burning myself out. I've just been basking in all of the positivity from comments on YouTube, Patreon, even texts from friends. I hope you're doing well. Best wishes from here in Pennsylvania. Thanks for listening. Thanks to Greg and Steve. And of course, as always, thank you to Propagandy.
You are listening to Unscripted Moments, a podcast about propaganda. On this episode, we are discussing Untitled, Track 2 on side F of 1995's Where Quality is Job 1 double 7-inch. This 64-second metal instrumental features a thrashy beat, wailing guitar solos throughout, and abruptly ends after 61 seconds before leading into a 5-second clip from part of Degrassi Junior High Dropouts on the next side.
Just a reminder, we recently did an episode on Degrassi Junior High Dropouts featuring Mike Park from Asian Man Records as the guest and a cover that I made. So feel free to go back and find that. It's a relatively recent episode. So Steve, this is clearly not a real song. When I reached out to Todd Congelier from Recess Records, I said, "What do you remember about this song?" Todd wrote me back and he said, "Greg, I remember laughing with Chris about this, but forgot any details." So the person who literally released the record has no comments on this particular track other than remembering there being laughter. But also, Todd sent me another message, and he said that they are reissuing some FYP LPs on Recess Records, including Dance My Dunce. And he got an interview with Chris that's pretty awesome in that Recess Records FYP reissue for Dance My Dunce. So there's some Chris Hanna content coming in the new FYP reissues. So go check those out. But that's what I got as a comment from this. But we are going to spend a little bit of time knocking out this quote unquote song. But we're going to use this as an excuse to hang out, tick off another box from our checklist for the episodes we have to make in order to discuss every propaganda song. And this is a song that is released on a real record. So we have to do an episode about it. I mean, if we're doing Little Ditty, we got to do Untitled, right?
I love that we have to preface it by this is a real song released on a real record.
Yeah.
That has to be something we have to say.
And you know what's funny? Like I can't stand this double 7-inch because it's impossible to listen to because of the locked grooves and the fact that there's no track listing and the fact that it's just like really difficult to know what side is what. So you never know what you're going to get when you put this record on. You could put on any of the 4 sides of the 2 7-inches and you never know what song is going to play because there's no sides that are labeled. So I'm not a huge fan of this record. I think it's funny, but it's not something that I go to for enjoyment. But this is definitely on the record because it's after Die for the Flag. And I listened to it yesterday just to make sure that this is actually on a pressed version and it's not just like some internet joke throwaway that is a practical joke in some way. And it's really on there. And I heard it yesterday on the record.
How many tries did it take you to get that song to play properly?
Well, it doesn't have a locked groove after Die for the Flag. So it goes from Die for the Flag directly into this one.
Okay.
So there's no practical joke on side F, which I think is side A technically, because I think that Die for the Flag is technically track 1. Because if it's sides F, U, C, and K off, then the F would be technically side A. So I think this is actually track 2 on the whole entire release, which is hilarious to start off this record because there's some good stuff later in this release.
They start strong.
Dude, but like Bent is on there,
Yeah.
that cover song from Sudden Impact. So there's some interesting stuff on this release, but yeah, we're gonna just hang out, and we got some cool listener stuff today. But I want to start a little bit by recapping the fact that you and Matt Milkowski did a freaking sweet episode on Lower Order, a good laugh from Victory Lap on the last episode. Uh, I loved it. Thank you so much for doing that. We only have one more song from Victory Lap to make in episode 4, In Flagrante Delicto. So we will do what we do when we finish an LP, and we'll recap our favorite Victory Lap top fives. We'll wrap up that LP forever on an episode, and hopefully the not too distant future. So far we've finished episodes for How to Clean Everything, Less Talk More Rock, Potemkin City Limits, and Supporting Cast. So it will be nice to add our fifth completed LP of long episodes soon. And from the other LPs, we still have to do COINTELPRO, Unscripted Moment, Cognitive Suicide, and like I said, In Flagrante Delicto. But we are closing in on having the full first 7 Propaganda LPs and tracks done from 1989 to 2024. And I say 2024 because we already did an episode on "Fuck You," the DOA cover. So we're cruising right along, man. That Lower Order episode was totally the bomb. Thank you to Matt. Thank you to you. Thank you to Sage from Legal Impact for Chickens, and thank you to Thomas Rosati from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and the band El Effecto for the fabulous cover. So I loved it. I loved listening to the show as a listener, not as a host. So you guys rocked.
No, thanks, bud. That was a lot of fun to do. I was really jazzed to be able to have an episode to talk about, food and animals and stuff because I haven't really had that opportunity yet, and that's something I obviously care a lot about. So I was really jazzed to be able to do it. And honestly, listening to Matt tell his story about all of the steps that he took to be able to come to like his food journey was so eye-opening that someone would go to that extent to do that much learning and experiencing, and it was so wild to just be part of that conversation and hear him talk about it.
Yeah, and I've done episodes on humane meat, Potemkin City Limits, nailing Descartes to the wall. I just was like fried from that topic. So to hear you guys tell your stories and deepen your friendship mattered a lot to me, because I love listening to episodes of this podcast that I'm not on because it ties in other versions of people's connections to propaganda. And that's why we're all here. I consider this to be a community effort at this point, with Paul and Danik collaborating, people collaborating on covers, Paul looping in his son to do some songs and some stuff like that. And then all the covers and the stuff, the projects that we have in the works that we haven't even announced yet. So much cool community stuff. But I mean, that's where I'm at. I'm just trying to use this project to seek some joy amidst the chaos and the maelstrom of the outside world. So love to hear you
Speak
guys do that.
Speaking of joy, if anyone out there winds up making either the Matt or the Steve recipe from the lower order episode, please take a picture and tag us in it online because
Heck yeah.
I would love to see what you guys are what you're making when it comes to those recipes that we put out. I made my recipe last night. I posted it in the Discord for everyone to see what like a finished version of it looks like. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing everyone's cooking adventures.
Yeah, definitely email me if you want to be in the Discord, just propagandipod@gmail.com. But also go back in those lower order show notes and find that Google Doc link that Matt and Steve put recipes in that they were talking about on that particular episode. Those are available and they're free and open access to anybody. So go do some cooking. Go do some good stuff. Whip up some tasty delights at home. Some cruelty-free tasty delights. Yeah. So what else is going on, Steve? What do we got going on that we need to chat about?
Um, it's been a weird times lately. I mean,
Sucks. Totally
understatement.
sucks. Yeah.
But like I mentioned on my lower order episode, I've been getting more and more deep into my meditation practice, and that's really helped me through a lot of what's going on lately.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that annoying guy, like that, like that has finally like had a revelation with it. And is like, oh, I need to tell everyone about it. Like I'm already annoyed with myself, so uh, But yeah, I feel like that's, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm really trying to like, at least since for the last while, just focus on, my own physical and mental health and improving both in terms of like doing meditation. I'm really like doing a lot of my working out. Like since November, I've dropped 18 pounds since November.
Heck yeah. It's warming up outside too, and I got on my road bike for the first time since late October the other day, and I'm going to go out and get back on my bike again later today. But I've been running, I've been, out on my bike again, so I am looking forward to that as well, mental and physical wellness. But I'd have to say that I received an email about your meditation comment on Instagram from a listener who really loved that particular comment and connected with it and was talking about their own transcendental meditation practice. And I did for quite a while. I was practicing with a Rinzai Zen monk in Missouri, where we would come in, we would do the Heart Sutra, and then we would just sit there in silence with no goal, goalless meditation, just sitting, which is the purpose of Zen. And I say purpose in air quotes because a lot of times the sitting is goalless in Rinzai. But yeah, there's a lot of people out there that utilize that to great effect to just figure out things about themselves in a reasonable time frame. Just seeing what
Hey,
happens.
your practice got you to do the cold tub without having a meltdown, so there's that.
Totally. Like it was totally fine. And I wish I could do it again because I've got this tennis elbow, man, that's like been fucking up my shit since like October or November. So I've got this stupid elbow problem that I'm dealing with that it's driving me bananas. But
We're we're finally like not throughout most of January and February, the my cold plunge was 6 inches thick of ice frozen over the top, so I couldn't get in. But it's finally like we had a couple warm enough days where it's thawed and I was able to break the ice up. So this week I was finally able to get like back in the tub and get back into the swing of things. So it was nice to finally be able to get back in after a month of it being frozen over essentially.
yeah. Well, in other news, hilariously, so right now there's a lot of football action going on too. I don't know if you've been following the Buffalo Bills news at all, have you?
I've been following the Buffalo Bills news, but I just want to highlight the fact the one other news is that currently Aaron Rodgers does not have an NFL team, and that makes me so happy.
Dude, I saw a headline the other day that he's like holding the Steelers hostage because he refuses to make a decision. And I'm like, can this guy just get lost? Finally, there's a few
Like,
particular people in the world that I want to disappear like immediately for all of the obvious reasons. Um, but Aaron Rodgers is on that list because I'm like,
and
how dare you hold the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Giants hostage, you jerk.
Aaron Rodgers and Danica Patrick are like the two people that are just like the most insufferable people. And I think I believe they used to date, and I'm wondering if they just like together created each other's horrific personalities and just terrible takes on everything.
I
There's a
know,
lot
I
of
know.
controversy right now because the I'm big into Formula One, and this weekend is the first is the Australian Grand Prix coming up. Qualifying
Oh,
is
cool.
tonight, and so Sky Sports out of the UK is like the feed that like most of the English speaking world kind of gets for their broadcast. And Sky Sports this year has decided to continue to employ Danica Patrick in their broadcast team, despite every single person watching hates it because her takes are terrible. Like last year, she came out with a take saying women didn't have what it takes to be racers, even though she built her entire career around being a female race car driver upon retirement, saying that women don't have what it takes to be race car drivers.
The cognitive dissonance in the world is so boring for a lot of this kinds of stuff. And the people that say these types of things, they will then preface it by saying, "Hey, I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions."
Yeah, God.
But I was thinking about this yesterday, and I was like, "Man, whenever you say in public that you're just asking questions to absolve yourself of responsibility because actually stupid human beings cannot discern the difference and can't realize when somebody is completely full of it. I'm just like, you are horrific and you're hurting and harming our world in so many ways because when you just say, I'm just asking questions, it tells somebody who is legitimately dumb that you can just say, I'm just asking questions and that everything will be okay and that you are not at fault for anything that may stem as a result from you're just quote unquote asking questions. I hate that kind of stuff. It drives
Oh,
me insane.
that and
Um,
then the absolutely pointless people that the pointless times where people are like, I would like to play devil's advocate
oh man.
on situations that a devil's advocate opinion is absolutely not appropriate in any
Right.
way. But there's always some person online who's like, actually,
Yeah.
and it's
And
just oh.
it's not like I'm some radical revolutionary. You know what I mean? I am like literally a dad in my living room. I'm not, some kind of crazy protester. I'm not in the streets. I'm not like a wild and brave person, like really at all. But I try to make sure that my comments in the world are reasonably sane and thought through, and I try to never say, "Hey, I'm just asking questions," because um, I realize that those things can actually do harm. I'm just trying not to do that much do that much harm to like the intellectual lives of people in the world. But ugh. Anyway, we're surrounded by that, so I'm just glad that you and I are aware of it, and we are consciously choosing to not behave that way. Makes me happy.
I agree. I think that's the only way we can go. But
But
back to
we got
Buffalo Bills. Back to the
Buffalo
Buffalo
Bills.
Bills.
Yeah, the good stuff. So we have released Von Miller, who was arrested, as everybody knows, for domestic violence. So by Von Miller.
Smell you later.
I think the Bills said that they're open to re-signing him though on a restructured deal. So who knows if Von Miller will actually be back? Josh Allen, selflessly I say this selflessly thing
With
with
quotes.
quotes because Josh Allen was like there was something involving $5 million where Josh Allen's like, listen, I don't need another $5 million. Like, I want the team to do something. So he in theory could have gotten more money on his new contract extension, but he loves Buffalo. He lives in Buffalo. He wants to play here forever. He doesn't want to play anywhere else. He reaffirmed his commitment to the team and making team-friendly deals. So even though he's one of the highest paid athletes of all time, he has been
Somehow
very,
still markedly underpaid,
yeah. But we lost Mac Hollins,
which is
which
heartbreaking.
tragic, tragic.
Friend of I've Mac Hollins, friend of the show.
Dude, he was reading Howard Zinn. He carried Howard Zinn in a paperback form into the stadium on one of his extremely bizarre and hilarious stadium entries one time. I was like, Mac Hollins likes propaganda. He does. I know he's a fan. I know he's a super fan. He knows every lyric by heart. Mac Hollins, honorary propaganda super fan. And until he personally confirms that he's never heard propaganda, I just know in my heart that he knows every lyric, every line, every note.
And we also just signed what's his face from the Chargers
Josh
there.
Palmer. Yeah.
Oh no,
Hopefully.
the other guy,
Oh
Bozeman.
yeah, yeah. Bosa.
Bosa, yeah, Bosa.
Joey Bosa. So we got brother of MAGA Nick Bosa. So we'll see if Joey Bosa reveals himself to be a horrifying personality. We'll see. I don't know enough about him, but we got him on a 1 year deal, and if he can knock Patrick
La-
Mahomes' block off a couple of times, oh my
And
God.
if he makes it past the first two games without getting injured, I'd say we're in the bonus territory.
Yeah, yeah. And just for listeners out there, as you may or may not know, Canada and the United States are currently at war because the president is real bad, really, really bad at international diplomacy in all regards. So our season ticket quest that we've spoken about many times is currently paused. While we wait to see the resolution of the impending war between our countries. Steve lives 45 minutes away from me, and apparently we're at war now. So the
Yeah,
president is ruining our Buffalo Bills quest. I am so pissed.
Honestly, like I'm picking up my bike within the next week or two as well, and I had high hopes of like spending a lot of my summer like biking down to your place and doing all this. I'm like literally all like I'm gonna bike to the Rainbow Bridge and just stand on the other side of the bridge and wave to you, basically.
Well, I'm moving to Grand Island soon, so I'll be even closer to you, and I am totally fine with riding my bike across the border because if I get detained in Canada, I'll be like, fine, you guys can keep me, I'll defect. And then when the war starts, I'm on the other side and I can then go to war against the United States. So if I get detained in Canada while I'm out on a little bike ride on my Canyon road bike, so be it. Bring it on. I'll just cross, and if you guys detain me, I'll just stay. So maybe we'll do some rides, but we'll explore the beautiful roads of Southern Ontario instead of the roads of Northwestern New York. I'm
Lots of
fine with
good
it.
lots of good rides in the Niagara on the Lake region and stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that. So, but yeah,
yeah.
I'm super into that.
There's a guy that lives in Tonawanda who rides in Southern Ontario a lot. He crosses the border and rides over there, and I've got all of his rides mapped. So
Oh, nice.
I'm pretty stoked. I'm gonna download his routes and see how it goes. Um, cool. Well, should we get into some propaganda stuff?
Yeah, let's do it. It's been a
Okay.
while. Like I haven't recorded an episode in like a week, like 2 weeks in a row.
Dude, you're on a roll right now. I'm loving this. And I
Normally I'm
have,
like once a month, maybe once every 2 months, but I'm 2 weeks in a row. I'm like,
to
who
be
am I,
fair,
Greg?
I forced this upon you. I was like, listen, we need to get this crap done. There's a new record coming soon. We got to keep on trucking. And just want to say, before we get into this, we know that there's a new Propaganda song. I listened to it 80 times, okay? I know. I know we're excited. Everybody's excited. There's no one on earth more excited than me, okay? You might be as excited as me, but I assure you that I am the number one most excited person on planet Earth for this record. I admit that I may be tied for first place with some other people, but I'm up there, okay? We're not going to rush episodes about the new record. We're
No,
not.
God no.
When we started this podcast, Victory Lap was 2.5 years old. So those songs had already been living inside of me for years before I ever spoke about them on the podcast. We're not rushing the new record. If you want to go and listen to comments about the new record, go watch the reaction videos on YouTube. What's his name? Galactic. Oh God, what's his username? He did a great reaction video. Damn it, it's really gonna piss me off. Galactic something
Here,
did
just
a
put it in the editing right now.
I'm not doing that shit.
Okay.
So Galactic somebody, did Galactic Mutant did an immediate YouTube reaction video. It's awesome. The emotion on his commentary, fabulous. Then go watch Clem Last Note. He did a double guitar of the lead and the rhythm tracks where he has two shots of himself playing the song with the two different guitar tracks. Amazing playthrough. Nathan Hawden Music on Instagram did an excellent playthrough the day the song came out. He learned it in one straight shot. There's plenty of content out there. We're not rushing our episodes because that's not how we roll here. Um, and so those episodes will come in the future.
No,
But
we're the kings of drawing things out. As Zoe will tell you,
yes, 5
every
years of
single
this.
thing I say is way too long, drawn out, and boring.
Way too long. 5 years of this crap. 5 years. Dude, this podcast is like what, like 700 hours long? Like, come on. Okay, so
But
that's,
for the record, we will have stuff for the new album at
oh,
some
yeah,
point. We absolutely will, and we're just not going to tell you about any of it right now,
right.
but we
Yeah.
will have some stuff planned.
I've got a couple projects in the works. All right, everybody. Just trust me on this, okay? So anyway, let's go back to this song from Where Quality is Job Number One. We got a 30-year-old song. We got new material in the world right now, and we're going back. Screw that new stuff. We're going back 30 years. So, on episode 44, I interviewed Todd Congelar from Recess Records, and I asked him about every single Recess release that Propaganda did. I interviewed Todd in 2021. He told the story of I'd Rather Be Flag Burning. He told me the story of Where Quality is Job Number One. He told me the story of the Play at Your Own Risk 5 inch. He told me the story of the letter of resignation split 7-inch with FYP. Todd had 8 minutes of commentary specifically about where quality is job number one, and many of you may have missed that interview. So, in order to recap this particular release, I wanted to bring Todd's audio from the 8 minutes where he talked about this record back to this episode. And I dumped it into an Adobe audio enhancer. So I actually improved the sound quality of this section of audio. So let's hear the story of where quality is job number one with Todd Congelier from Recess Records for the next 8 minutes. And then we'll be back and we'll hear from some listeners on a really kick ass voicemail segment. Here we go. We'll be right back. Well, let's talk about where quality is job one, the double 7-inch Recess number 14. I think there are 10 versions of this one with the two different colored 7-inches. Do you have any information on the different variants for this one about how many, what would you would order them like in numbers of batches? If there's any letters like super rare, what do you have on this one?
I think as opposed to the 10-inch, which I could have sworn the 10-inch, the minimum quantity you could order was 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Just because doing a 10-inch was a little bit more special. I'm pretty sure I started off with 1,000 brown and yellow transparent ones.
I have that one.
Okay, so that I'm 98% sure that was the first press.
Okay,
it was 1,000 copies. The second press was another 1,000, but it was brown and yellow opaque. And the reason why we did that was because it was shit and piss. And
yeah,
that's always been a theme with us. And
yeah, it's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, and then the third pressing I did 500, which was one was black and one was gray.
Okay,
which
I have
gray was okay. Gray is the what do you call it? The mixed.
Yeah, it's like a marble.
Yeah, and they did this back then, but I think it was like a special thing that they gave the pressing plant. I was very close with them, so they gave me kind of a wink, like, we'll do this for the same price as black vinyl, but you have to just suffer through whatever we do. Now they do that. Now it's just like a thing where it's the same price as black vinyl, but they want you to do that because they want to get rid of all the extra,
the ink and stuff,
vinyl.
Right?
Yeah, but it usually turns out purple or gray, and that's what that was. I want to say that's it, but
okay.
I mean, yeah, I don't know anything else. Like I can't think of anything. That's all I have in my notes.
Nice.
But like I said, it's not completely 100% solid,
Yeah. What is the story behind putting together this double 7-inch? Like what details do you remember working with the band on this one?
Well, this was another visit from Chris, and where we actually went to the mastering place, where it wasn't really a mastering place, it was more like a lacquering place where the guy we would watch him cut the record. And as we were driving over there, he thought on one of the sides we wanted just to do like shitty little etchings, and we thought it would be funny because people try to play it and there's nothing on it. But I remember that was the weirdest sit-in session to this lacquering guy, because the guy was kind of weird already, and we asked him, like, hey, can we do the etchings? And he just looked at us like we were crazy. And then by the time we were done with it, I think Hannah did most of the drawing. I might have doodled one of them, but by the time we were done with it, he just looked at us like, okay, this is you're paying for this. Go ahead. And like the whole, I remember the whole drive back, we were just cracking up, kind of like the dog shit story.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's why, and I got a lot of heat from that, where people were like, well, the song doesn't even play, it just skips all over the place. And people would try to return them. And it was a clusterfuck, and it kind of backfired, but now that we're through the woods on it, it's funny. And I'm glad we did it.
Okay, well, I got some questions on these etchings, right? So there's no center labels on these records, which is legendary now at this point with
Yeah.
fans. And there's etchings, like mine have penises on them and all kinds of stuff. How do you
Yes.
do these etchings? Do you have to do this on every record, or do you do it on one record and then it gets repressed as many times as that mold goes through the pressing?
Yeah, like they were the place that we went to that I was just talking about. You just do it once on the mold, which is called the mother, there, and that's like a lacquering job. And once that mother's made, that's it. Like that's every record's gonna look. And yeah, I mean there was even a pressing plant that I pressed it at was saying they made me sign something saying they weren't responsible for manufacturing defect on that one, which we didn't care. The whole thing, we put lock grooves on it, which like I don't know if yours does this, but there's like songs that don't go to the next song because there's a lock groove, and
yes,
we just made it very difficult to listen to the music because I think Hannah was kind of he kind of blew it off, but he wanted to see the release anyways. So we just made it very difficult to just put it on and go drink some coffee and sit back and relax. You had to like be right in front of your player to play these songs. And
so how do locked grooves work? Because mine does have a locked groove at the end of leg hold trap. It doesn't play past that. You have to physically move the record arm. Tell me about locked grooves and how that works.
It's usually reserved for the end of. I mean, I think the most famous one was the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper, where at the end of the record, the song's over and it doesn't just run off. Like the needle doesn't just run off. And I mean, I don't know if you're aware, but I used to have a record player, and I don't think they make them anymore. But where when it's done, when one side of the record's done, the tone arm lifts up and goes back and returns. So you could actually put a record on and leave, and you come back and your record player will not be spinning.
Right.
The tone arm will be back. And so instead of, so what a lock groove does is just keep it's almost like a skip where it keeps repeating the one part, and you specifically tell your lacquering guy, I want to lock groove right here. I want it to skip. And on the Beatles record, they even replicated it for digital CD and everything. You can kind of hear it where it's just like,
wow,
like on the record. And this was in the 60s, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
On the record, it's just doing that over and over again, and it could literally make you go insane if if you fall asleep and you hear it, you have a nightmare. And so we did that. We already did that with a few records, and this was the one where I forgot which one we did. I think we did one of the FYP albums. Like but it's just on the end of a song, and that's the only time you ever did it. And we were like, let's do it in the middle of the record. And
amazing.
Lo and behold, we did it. We wanted we just wanted to fuck with people's attention spans or something. I don't know really, but there was some artistic merit to it.
Tell me about some of the complaints you got, because I knew this. I was like, there's no way they didn't hear about this from like 1,000 people. Tell me about some complaints.
Oh, people just wanted to return them. They said it's messed up, and I would. I mean, I don't know if email was around back then, so everything had to be done through snail mail, and I like them back saying you can return it if you want, but these were manufactured this way. It's on purpose. And then they write back, that's cool,
Nice.
Or people would just be like, fuck you assholes, But I do remember the pressing plant may sign something just based on, because they just saw as it's already defected. You guys fucked it up. It was kind of like that Home Alone, look what you did, you little jerk kind of scene. And it's like, well, it's not the end of the world. Like, just press it up, I'll pay you and sell them, and we'll see what happens.
God, I love it. Okay. Jesus Christ, the cats are going nuts. Okay, we're back.
I love it.
So
we're
that
back.
was yeah, if you want to hear the full hour with Todd, go to episode 44. It's a real good one, promise. Okay, so Steve, a while back.
Quick sidebar. So
Sure.
when you're running the episodes through the Adobe Voice Enhancer,
Yeah,
It uses AI to enhance the voices, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
So at what point are both of our voices going to be stolen by AI and we're going to just wind up as the new voice of some random AI tool somewhere?
Yeah, well, I mean, we could ask the AI with that clip from Adobe to make an episode about At Peace by Propagandy, and we'll see what comes out. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I will do that. Even though that is sick, makes me sick.
Oh,
Did you know that Carl from Earth Crisis wrote a book about AI? I heard that in Hard Lore yesterday.
I, I've side note I'm only about 45 minutes into the episode. I had to stop to make dinner, but that Carl Hardlore episode is such an all-timer for me because like as I've mentioned before, like Propaganda played like a huge part of my formative years. Like the other band was Earth Crisis, and to hear Carl be able to tell all these stories
Yeah.
and stuff from like the mid 90s when I was like first getting into Earth Crisis and Propaganda and stuff, it good on the hard lore dudes for having Carl for a 3 hour sit down.
Dude, so good. I listened to the entire thing yesterday. I'm doing construction at the other house to reconfigure our living space for when I move to Grand Island. And I listened to the entire thing while I was dismantling some old crap in this space that we're redoing. So real good interview with Carl Buechner from Earth Crisis. Loved it.
I'm looking forward to picking up his new like graphic novel book where about the animals taking over and stuff.
Hmm.
Kind of all about that.
Yeah. He talked a lot about it in the interview too. It sounded really cool. So a while back, I was trying to figure out what to do in this episode, and I figured it was a nice time to have some folks call in. Um, so I put out several calls on Instagram and on Reddit, and fired up the old Google Voice and email voicemail submission call, and we got some cool voicemails. We got a lot actually. I'm really stoked that so many people called in. Uh, I originally thought we were only gonna have about 10, but we got like 20 plus at this point. Um, some of them tell some cool propaganda stories from over the years in their lives. Some of them react to the newly released single At Peace from the forthcoming 8th LP, also titled At Peace. And I'm just glad that we can just kind of chill for a moment while we let the new record news wash over us and hear from listeners. So should we talk a little bit of show? Basically, I'm going to play the voicemail and then I'll react to it and you can react to it if you would like. And then we will, um, talk a little bit about Untitled later on. Does that sound like a good plan?
Let's do it.
All right. First voicemail. Here we go.
Hey there, Propagandy Pod, and Unscripted Moments. This is Glenn calling from New York. I left a message a little while back to tell a little story about my interaction with Celine during the pandemic, but I was also sick, and my voice was terrible. Maybe it's a little better. But anyway, I live in New York now, but I was born in Buffalo. I'm a lifelong drummer, picked up a couple instruments along the way, and always had a guitar in my possession, but never really learned how to just pick that thing up and actually play anything worthwhile with it. During the pandemic in 2020, when I didn't have access to an acoustic drum set, I certainly didn't have access to my bandmates or really to any people at all. I was lonely and I was bored and wanted to play some music and that guitar on the wall kept calling to me. Luckily, around that time, Celine posted on their Instagram that they were doing guitar lessons again, and I thought, what better time than now? And took them up on the offer and did a bunch of 30 and 60-minute lessons with them, learned how to treat a guitar with some respect and actually play the SG that I've always liked to look at but never got to use. Of course, we worked on Back to the Motor League, the song that had to be learned. It was why I wanted an SG from the beginning. People like Chris Hanna have always been that North Star guitarist for me. Anyway, fast forward to 2021, and just out of happenstance, a friend once was asking me if I knew anyone that would want to play rhythm guitar for their band, and I suggested myself, and they're like, wait, aren't you a drummer? And I said, well, that too, but I kind of play guitar now. And here I am a few years later, still playing guitar with a band called Bikini Car Wash out of New York, and I've still got that SG. And I have to say many, many thanks to Sulin for giving me the push to actually learn how to play. I couldn't show up and just make a fool out of myself, so I had to do the homework. And Propaganda continues to be one of my absolute favorite bands, and here we are at Peace Just Dropped, and I'm re-recording this so you've got a little extra voicemail material. I hope you're doing well. Can't wait for May 2nd. And, yeah, keep doing the podcast. Cheers.
Okay, cool voicemail about guitar lessons with Sulin. Very cool. Sulin's full-time job is teaching for many years, so this is killer to hear a resounding endorsement about taking guitar lessons with our buddy Sulin. Nice little recap about At Peace's release too. Good voicemail. Liked it.
I thought I mean, first of all, I would be way too intimidated to take guitar lessons with Sulin.
I don't think so. I think that Sulin is a fabulous guitar teacher. I think that
I'm not doubting that. I'm saying that I am a terrible guitar player. That's the issue.
Yeah, so what? So what? I loved it though. I love that resounding endorsement. I believe that you could go to sulinhago.com and look at information about guitar lessons. I don't know if Sulin will be doing that. I know Sulin has a lot in the works with Propaganda and other music to be announced in the future. But yeah, go check that out. Second voicemail?
Back to the first one here. This was obviously, I don't want to pull back the curtain here, but we both pre-listened to all the voicemails, and I'm just trying to. This is the one that mentioned the SG, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to say, I'm going to be basically chastised for this, but I've never liked the SG as a guitar.
Oh wow, that's
and
funny.
I know that's not a popular opinion here, due to Mr. Chris Hanna and his use of the SG, but I'm much more of a Les Paul guy than an SG guy.
There you go. Cool. All right. Well, second voicemail. Here we go.
Where the fuck do you get off? Making consistently amazing songs since '93. I can barely write about zombie genitals, and you guys are killing it every fucking time. That piece fucking rules.
Okay, I kind of like the veiled, vaguely threatening tone of that one. I found it very funny.
Oh, I think it would be funny if we just had all threatening voicemails.
Yes, I'm surprised that no one basically was a jerk to us, telling us how much we suck. I expected that. It's a little scary to be like, "Hey, call in," and then be like, "You guys are absolute dweebs. I can't believe how much of your precious lives you spend on this project, sucking up to this band." Like, I'm surprised that none of that came through.
It's because all the hate is saved for Paul and Danik.
Oh yeah. True. That was a good one. That was a good set of voicemails. Okay, let's hear the next one.
Propaganda especially. Propaganda changed the whole sound. They kind of define the fabric of sound. Strung out, face to face. Yeah, they're all great musicians.
Was that Fat Mike from No Effects?
I don't know who you're talking about. I don't even know who that is.
Okay. Yeah. Moving on. Next voicemail.
Lovers in a danger. Hey, Greg. What's going on? It's Paul here from the Mutual Friend episode, maybe 3 years ago. By the way, after we talked for that episode, you inspired me not to drink alcohol for 4 or 5 months, and I got really healthy and in shape, and it was great, and I attribute that to you. But that's not why I'm calling. I'm calling about this new song. And, okay, I think everyone can admit it's a fucking great song. Really, really catchy riff. It's kind of everything you would want in a Propaganda song. I'll play devil's advocate a little bit. There's some lyrical content that is interestingly, like almost exactly the same as some stuff from the last song on Victory Lap, Adventures in Zoochosis. What does he say? He wants to live, but he's not afraid. My only fear is that this may not be the end in regard to death, and he mentions that exact same content, that idea in this song, which is interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if this song was written a long time ago, like 6, 7, maybe 8 years ago. It feels maybe like almost like an outtake from Victory Lap, which isn't a bad thing. It just really has that vibe. I think the rest of the album might be a little bit more adventurous. I hope that it is. And again, don't get me wrong, this is a fucking great song. One of their best. I'm gonna listen to it a few more times. I hope you're well. Take care, man. Good luck.
Okay, so that was Paul Bright from the legendary Southern Ontario, London, Ontario band Shoulder, which went on to become the Constantines later. Hell yeah, Paul, you rule. Thank you so much for calling in. It was interesting that he sees it as a place where Zoochosis leaves off and picks up with that theme. So he's like connecting At Peace with Zoochosis, which I love that. I love the threads of the stories that weave through Propagandy. And
The propaganda universe is real.
I know. And he's got like an interesting theory about this being like an outtake from the record. I don't share that belief, but I think that Paul sees it as a launch point from the end of the last record into the beginning of this record, which I really like looking at connections like that. Like if we think about the connection between Last Will and Testament on supporting cast leading into Note to Self, if you play those songs back to back and remove Come to the Sabbath, they flow into each other so nicely. So I love seeing where a record leaves off and then kicks off the next time years later.
So according, like looking on when I went and had my listen to the new track on Title, it's not the first track on the record, on the new record.
You're right.
So it's interesting with that theme and that take about that overlap, given that it's not the first song on the new record. Like it would make a lot of sense if it were the first song and have that natural like evolution across. But since it's not the first song on the record, I find that even more particularly interesting because it's what, track 8 at Peace? It's 2. I thought it was track 8 on Title. Oh, I guess I'm wrong.
Interesting. As far as I know, it's 2. But you know, Paul was like, I'm hoping it's adventurous. I am also hoping it's adventurous. I want this to be the weirdest Propaganda record ever. I want this, like, I have talked about this for years, that I think that Propaganda's like 9th record, like the one after At Peace, might be like cut into the earth, life at disconnect, weird. I want slower and weirder. Do you know what I mean? Like When All Your Fears Collide. Like I think that Todd's speeds and vision, I think that the later stuff could be like Cop Just Out of Frame meets Cut into the Earth. So I'm interested. I want weird, I want slow, I want new, I want fresh.
Oh, absolutely. And you are I don't know why I thought track 8. It's definitely track 2 on Title. I'm an idiot. I was probably thinking of a different thing I was listening to yesterday.
Oh, it's fine. All right, let's hear the next voicemail. Here we go.
Hello. My name's Justin Bootlear from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. I play in the two-piece band Elk Lodge, based here in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. I've been a Propaganda fan since Supporting Cast was released in 2009. That year, a good buddy of mine, Kenson, burned me a mix CD that alternated songs from Propaganda's Supporting Cast album and Wilhelm Scream's Career Suicide album. So the CD started with I Wipe My Ass with Showbiz before kicking into Night Letters, which was kind of an interesting way to get into a band and an album. I played the fuck out of that mix CD. And fast forward 3 years, I moved to Dartmouth, and I hear that Propaganda are coming to Halifax. I was fucking stoked. Not only were they playing with the Vandals, Lagwagon, Rise Against, but they were playing just 3 days after Failed States was released. They fucking ripped. I still have my Failed States t-shirt from that show. although it's now a much tighter fit. A few years later, my good buddy Sandy moved to Vancouver. And one evening, I get a notification from him on my phone. It's a message that just says, "Open this." And attached was a video. The video was of Sandy at a Propagandhi sound check, standing with Todd. Sandy asks Todd if he has something to say, to which Todd replies, "Yeah, hey Justin, it's Todd. I heard you were a fan of the band. Thanks. I just wanted to say, fuck you and fuck Glace Bay. Go fuck yourself." And him and Sandy flipped me the bird. I was over the moon about it, to be honest. Glace Bay is a small town, just a town over from where I was born. Anyway, that was hilarious. Coincidentally, Glace Bay was mentioned before on your podcast by Lindsay McDougall from Frenzal Rom. He was on your podcast talking about the early days of touring in Canada. So shout out Glace Bay. I've seen Propagandhi 2 more times since 2012. In 2015, they were the headliner for the opening night of Rockfest, a festival in Montebello, Quebec. We were late making it into the festival after a 12-hour drive from Halifax, so we only caught maybe their last 2 or 3 songs. I was pretty fucking gutted about that, to be honest. Flash forward another 5 years, Propagandhi were announced to play in Halifax in May of 2020. I was stoked. I was getting married later that summer, and that show was to be like a pseudo bachelor party marriage gift to myself. But then COVID happened. The Propagandhi show was canceled. My wedding was postponed. Fortunately, my wife and I got married the next year in the summer of 2021. And Propagandhi announced that they would come back to Halifax in 2022. I was not going to miss that. That set was incredible. They played Mate Ka. I screamed my fucking lungs out. Unfortunately, I did catch COVID there for the first time. I was chatting with Greg, I think it was Greg anyways, a bit on Instagram. And Greg was nice enough to send me a little care package of some Propagandhi Pod stickers. So thanks, Greg. Anyway, that was a bit long-winded, but I have a lot of love for Propagandhi and a lot of love for the podcast. I appreciate the work you guys do in breaking down these often lyrically dense songs into a digestible format. Sometimes a 7-hour fucking format, but that's fine. Without us Cretians having to read scientific papers. Lots of love from Canada. If you dudes need an out from the current Trump administration, I'm sure Winnipeg would welcome you with open arms. Peace out, guys. Thanks so much.
Justin from Nova Scotia. Great stories about getting into the band. I saw them at the Firebird in St. Louis on the first Failed States tour leg, and it was absolutely flawless and perfect. Great story. Love Todd's humor. Big throwback to Doc from Frenzal Rom. And you are welcome for the stickers, Justin. I got COVID at the Propagandhi Ontario shows in 2022 also. So Justin and I have that in common. Justin, thank you for calling.
Is what percentage of the people listening do you think have caught COVID from going to a show?
I mean, I've caught COVID at 2 shows. I caught COVID at a show where I did punk rock karaoke, and I caught COVID at a Propagandhi show, probably in London or Guelph. So I personally am at 2 myself.
I'm at 1 COVID show catch, and it was the Circle Jerk 7 Seconds show.
Man, seeing 7 Seconds would be as long as you have, a certain type of immune system. I would definitely get COVID from seeing 7 Seconds, a band I will probably never get to see at this point. But yeah, I know that that's a very privileged thing for me to say, considering how my body reacts to COVID.
I'm at 2. I caught COVID when I came to your place and we went to see Zambonis. I got COVID at that one too.
That's right. But you get
And then I got really sick because I went to the Cold as Life show in Detroit and basically sat in the car sick and missed the whole show.
Yeah. You get sicker than me. I don't really get all that sick. I get like depression and personal despair mixed with a bit of like a head congestion when I get COVID. So my COVID is actually, I just sink into a psychologically negative state and have a head cold. It's very strange.
I have the autoimmune disease, so like my immune system is just horrific. So when I get it, I get it good.
Yeah.
I'm good at getting COVID.
Yeah. Thank you, Justin from Nova Scotia. Next voicemail.
Hello, my friends. My name is Edgar, where I come from. I'm a Brazilian, born and raised in São Paulo state. I just want to say I'm a huge fan of Propaganda. For me, these guys are not just the best punk rock band ever, but the greatest when speaking about music at all. Better than Beethoven, I mean, or whatever you think is a good music. And that's why I love this podcast. Actually, it's the only one I listen. You helped me to comprehend many lyrics, which is a big challenge for someone not fluent in English, English language. So first I want to say thank you, doing a great job and inspired me create a YouTube channel to explain for Brazilian people propaganda lyrics and stuff. Finally, about new song, At Peace, goddamn brothers. After listening 3,000 times, I feel more comfortable talking about it. My first impressions was about guitars and how good it was recorded. I think it's better than Victor Lap, very well recorded, very clean to hear. The engineers behind it did a great job. About lyrics, Chris Hanna just gives another reason to wake up tomorrow and the day after, and so on. Their reckoning has begun for real in Brazil. They did like Trump supporters after Biden's win, and they invaded our capital, preying on the headquarters of the House, Senate, and Supreme Court here after Bolsonaro lost the elections to our President Lula. It was a total mess. What happened after is that most of them was condemned to many years in jail, and probably same is gonna happen with Bolsonaro. They are being prosecuted for the crime of attempted coup d'etat, which is includes attempted murder of the elected President Lula. Yeah, I know, crazy shit, right? Well, back to the Mother League. The lyrics. Took me a bit of work on research, some local stuff like Surges and Arbis. They were perfect in this one. Anyway, I think either they just released the best album song, or we are about to get the best work from this band ever. I just know I can't wait until May. Thank you one more time. Long live into Unscripted Moments podcast, and see ya.
Edgar in Brazil. Edgar, I have to tell you that I've been to Sao Paulo, and it rules. So it is awesome to have a Brazilian call in. Edgar, you rule, man. I'm very glad that you're totally stoked on the new tune as well. At Peace clearly rocks. The production is very cool. To me, the tone of At Peace feels like it could go on Failed States. You know what I mean? But it's clearer. The production is clearer than the first pressing of Failed States that was mastered by Troy Glasser. The Jason Livermore remaster of Failed States is better, but like to me, At Peace thematically sort of fits with like a Failed States vibe of the darkness and the denseness. So I am digging Edgar's comments as well. Thank you, Edgar.
Oh, I'm just super jazzed that someone from Sao Paulo called in. Like I want lots of international representation here.
Yeah. Well, we got another one. We got Mauricio in Montreal calling in next. Let's hear Mauricio.
Hey guys, from podcast about propaganda. This is Mauricio speaking over here from Montreal. I have a little story with the band. I was very grateful and lucky to see them for the first time in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, back in 2018. They were playing with La Armada. That show was amazing. I traveled all the way from Venezuela to see them. I had a trip planned in the United States, but it all ended up being around the Propaganda show. So of course I saw them, I met them after the show. I spoke a little bit with Selin. It was really cool. It was a really energetic show. After we all went out of the venue, I was very groupy in that moment, so I tried to look for them around in the back alleys, and I luckily found the truck where they were loading up their gear. So I passed by and I was like, hey, what's up, guys? Really nice to meet you. Thank you very much for all the music you're doing and everything. That was pretty cool. They were pretty nice. It was pretty funny to see Chris a little bit creeped out in the back. But that was cool. I took a picture with them, spoke a little bit. And fun fact was that Jord offered himself to walk back to their hotel instead of taking the truck. So he could join me and my friends to talk a little bit about the band. We talk a little bit about thrash metal here in Canada in the 80s. Their influences, the sound, the political stance of the band. And I really appreciated that moment with them. Really appreciated Jord taking that moment to feel the dream of a groupie fan. Walking back to his hotel in the cold in the middle of winter. So that's my little story with the band, and I'm really grateful for that. And the new song sounds amazing. So thank you guys for doing the podcast. Been listening to it for a while. It's pretty cool. So well, there you go. Cheers.
Okay, so the thing I love about Mauricio's voicemail is the background noise on the streets of Montreal. You know what I mean? I love the recordings of cities. I love the sounds of like trains and horns beeping. I don't like it too much. Like, I don't want to be surrounded by it 24/7, but like, it just makes me feel alive to be a part of a vibrant community like that. So I loved the street sounds from this particular call. Cool La Armada shout out. Nice little groupie moment. I love La Armada also. I love that Chris was a little creeped out in Mauricio's message. That's funny. I love that Jord is awesome. There's so many Jord stories like that too, where you hear Jord just like really like being a really great dude with fans of the band and just kind of hanging out. I really, really loved Mauricio's voicemail. So Mauricio, thank you so much for calling in.
Oh, I wonder if Mauricio and I have ever crossed paths at Montreal shows. I'm sure we've been at the same show at some point before.
Maybe. Okay, cool. Let's hear the next voicemail.
Hey, this is Elliot Imes. I've played a couple covers that have been on Unscripted Moments, which is really kind of Greg to have put me on those. So thank you, and thank you for all the work you've done with the podcast. My Propaganda story is in October of 2010, my old band, Tyborn Jig, who's no longer around, we got to open for Propaganda in Des Moines, Iowa, my hometown here. This happened because I think they were headed to Chicago for, no, it wouldn't have been Riot Fest, but something. So Des Moines was a stop on the way to somewhere more important, which is how it is for a lot of bands that come through here. And my friend Sam, who is a pretty big concert promoter now, he runs the Hinterland Music Festival here in Iowa. So Sam booked it, partially because he knew that I loved Propaganda. And the show, unfortunately, did not do well at all. I want to say 60, 70 people. I mean, which I know is like a crime, right? It's Propaganda. But Des Moines can be like that. And of course, I felt kind of bummed that my band couldn't draw more for Propaganda, but whatever. Propaganda should have been the draw anyways. But anyways, the main memory of that show is we played, and when a band like that, you're opening for a band like that, you don't always think that they're going to watch your set, right? Or watch much of it at all, because they're busy, they got lives. Not that it's a disrespectful thing if they don't watch you, but you understand that it might happen, but you also hope they will watch, right? And so we were playing, and I don't really remember seeing anybody in the band much around, but again, this is a long time ago, so who knows. But what I do remember is Propagandi's setting up, they're tuning. This is like a minute or two before they actually start. And me and our bass player Ed were right up front, just standing right in front of Chris, just like, this is our spot. We're going to be here for the whole set. And Chris is tuning, and then he looked up and he noticed me and Ed, and he just gave us this nice like thumbs up, like a good set thumbs up, right? And Ed and I then looked at each other and basically squealed as if like Harry Styles had just, blown us a kiss or something, right? We were just giddy because Ed is just like me, obsessed with Propaganda. And so that was really nice. Like Chris, however much of our set he watched, whatever, he watched it a little bit and he recognized us and he knew who we were and he wanted to give us some encouragement. And it meant the world. It was so great. And then of course they played for like an hour and just tore the fucking house down. I still have the set list. I've actually shared that with you before, Greg, I think. And we've never figured out, if anybody out there, there's it on the set list, it just says there's a song called Data, D-A-T-A, right? Like data you enter into a spreadsheet. And we can't figure out what that is. Again, this is 2010. The one theory somebody had was that it is an early version of Duplicate Keys Akaro, but who knows? Anyway, so if anybody can help solve that mystery, that'd be great. But yeah, there's my Propaganda story. Thank you. Appreciate all the things you've done, and keep doing the podcast. Take care.
Okay, that was from Elliot in Des Moines, Iowa. Elliot, thank you so much for calling in. Everybody, Elliot has been a longtime listener and contributor to the podcast. So Elliot, super great to hear from you. Thank you so much for telling me your story about your band being able to hang with Propaganda in Des Moines. Loved it.
Have you ever been to Iowa?
I have. Yes, I actually have. Fun Iowa story really quick. I got my first teaching job in Mexico at an international job fair at the University of Northern Iowa in Waterloo, Iowa. I went to a round robin style job fair where principals from schools all over the world come to this one university, and I had like 17 job interviews in 2 days. And it was February in Iowa, and it was so cold, and I was doing all these job interviews, and I was 22, and I wound up accepting the first offer I got, and I went and lived in Coahuila, Mexico, which is a couple hours to the west of Monterrey, Mexico, which is a couple hours south of Texas. So yes, I've been to Iowa, and it actually has a very formative place in my teaching career because it's where I got my first job.
That's awesome. I've been to Iowa once. It was on a drive from Chicago to Omaha.
Mm-hmm.
Drove through Iowa and stopped. And the entire time I was driving through Iowa, I listened to the Slipknot album Iowa while visiting the bridges of Madison County in Iowa.
That is spectacular. Very well done. Elliot, thank you so much for calling in. Next voicemail.
Hello, Unscripted Moments gang. Danik here. One-time guest and host of Unscripted Moments. And I'm calling the day after At Peace dropped. I think yesterday I listened to this song about 12 or 15 times, and I'm relieved to say that I'm really digging it. It's a great song. I think it reminds me the most of Supporting Cast, but with some Potemkin City Limits and Victory Lap mixed in with it. And the standout quality, I would say, is the sound of Chris's voice. A little more weathered, a little more weary than in years past, and I think that actually serves him and the music quite well. It really brings out the message and emotion of the song, so I will be listening to it a bunch more. I'm really excited for the album, and I'm sure you all are, and everyone listening to it. So good stuff for us as fans coming up soon. All right, bye.
John Danik. He is everywhere. Hard Times, McSweeney's, Discord, voicemail. Thank you, Danik. Oh, Danik also co-hosted an episode with Paul Hodgert talking about the I Spy Propaganda split 10-inch. I'd rather be flag burning. Danik did a speculative fiction cover on our podcast. So Danik, he's everywhere. Cool At Peace commentary as well. Very, very awesome to hear from you, Danik.
He's so much everywhere. I expect him to like show up at my door randomly.
Yes,
at
Danik.
some point.
All right, next voicemail. Let's hear it.
All right. Did you guys hear this part? Some days I'm scared I'm gonna die, or even worse, I might survive. I can't do the rest, but Holy fuck! Ah!
Matt Comtois. Thank you, Matt, for calling in. Frequent contributor to the podcast, including the immensely fantastic Adventures in Zoocosis French version. Matt, thank you so much for calling in. And Matt specifically nailed the Carry On My Wayward Son riff competition that we had on Discord. I have never laughed so hard at 5:45 in the morning as watching Matt's Carry On My Wayward Son riff playthrough video. Matt, love you, buddy. You're the best.
Oh, Matt's awesome. He's a unbelievable member of the Discord community.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yes, we're so lucky. And he's also on Chris's Catastrophic Break with Consensus Reality Discord as well. He participates over there, mostly in like a little songwriters group with another Discord member named Zach, who is an awesome musician as well. So Matt is all over Discord. He's all over the riffs. He's all over covers. Like, love Matt. So glad that we met him. Okay, next voicemail. It's a longer one from Nathan from Australia. So let's hear a longer voicemail now. Let's hear it.
Hey guys, I'm a long time listener of your show, so I absolutely love it. So firstly, thank you so much for all that you do. It's starting to get a little bit excessive with some of these 7-hour and 19-hour podcast episodes, but I'll do my best to keep up with them. Thanks for the opportunity here also to share my little story. It's a small one, I guess, and a cute one. But, like any Propaganda fan, the small little connections that we have with the band are quite profound. I'm a teacher from Melbourne, Australia, and I first got into Propaganda back in 1995. I used to go on surfing trips up and down the east coast of Australia with some buddies. We had Fat Record CDs, and a buddy of mine had their first album, How to Clean Everything. And I remember I was about 10 or 11 years old at the time, and my brain was just simply melted by the song, Stick the Fucking Flag Up Your Goddamn Ass, You Son of a Bitch. Now, this was probably more so that someone was allowed to call a song that. To see those words even in print on the back of a CD was just pure rebellion in itself. But from that day onwards, I think my tiny brain has probably, I like to think it's grown somewhat, and as has the band developed and changed over time. These guys are responsible for getting me into some serious activist causes. I've committed to some heavy reading because of them. I'm into Noam Chomsky and Howard Zinn, and even in my own teaching of history, I think I've benefited from the perspectives that they've promoted. I want to go on record straight away and say that Supporting Cast is my favorite album of all time. It is flawless from start to finish. The whole album is just like a continuous Todd Kowalski fist pump to the sky, knee up on the kickback speaker, like sweat dripping on the front row. I had just gotten into Kent Monkman's artwork, and seeing those two things combined was quite a serendipitous moment. It was strange to see his work on the front cover of my favorite band. That album is unbelievable. Look, my story is from back in 2019. I had a pretty good week of live music that week. It was May, which in Melbourne means winter is coming. It's dark and about to get darker, and it's going to stay dark for a long time. A few days previously, I had seen Cedric Burnside at a tiny little jazz bar called the Spotted Mallard. And Propaganda were in town. They were in Australia for the first time in a long time. And it was going to be our first sighting of the band with Sue Lin playing. They were playing at the Corner Hotel in Richmond. and I went straight after work, which basically sat me at the bar approximately 5 hours before they were due to come on the stage. The Connor Hotel is a really, really good rock and roll bar. It's a cozy stage. It packs a large crowd. It has a pretty kicker sound system. I remember I brought a Sea Shepherd shirt. That's right, from that gig. And I shoved it down the back of my pants. I still wear it sometimes when I go for a run, just to let the neighborhood know that this old fossil can still move his ass. I was chatting to the bartender sitting at the bar, right, about bands, and he was pretty new to Propagandy. He'd heard of them, and I remember I made him promise that when his shift finished, that he would make sure he saw the band on stage. I was really surprised. I remember at the end of the gig, I saw him, and much like my tiny little brain back in 1995 was melted, so was his. Like, he was stoked. He was like, "Oh," he saw me. And like a window or a door had just been opened inside of him, and he was like an instant fan. I like to imagine what it would be like for him seeing them for the first time and having the privilege of going right back through all their back catalogue and experiencing all their music, for the very first time. So anyway, I was sitting at the bar. I'm going back and forward here. I was sitting at the bar and I heard them come on stage to do their sound check. And I asked this guy, I said, "Hey, can I get back there? I'm a big fan, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "Oh, no, we don't let people do that." I'm like, I took no. I'm not one to really take no for an answer. So I just kept at him. And eventually, I guess he figured out the only way I'm getting this guy to shut up is to let him go backstage. And he snuck me through and he said, "Sit down here at the back, deep in the back, just watch and don't be a nuisance," basically. So he plonks me down and I get a good glimpse of Todd and Chris and Sue Lynn and Jordan. They're running through their songs and chatting between. They need less of this, more of that. And the sound check guy's doing his best to keep up. And it was just amazing just to see these guys create the wonderful music that they do. They do one last sound check and it's Duplicate Keys, Icaro. That song that starts with the whistle track and then it's straight into a primordial flow across the blood-brain barrier. Man, and we are off on a journey. One of my favorite songs. So, I wander up after this and I say, "Thanks so much to the band for coming all the way to Australia. It's been so long." And they're unplugging their guitars and chatting amongst themselves. But one by one, they take the time to come down and say hello to me and have a chat. They're asking questions and taking an interest. And it was just I was so stoked to see them. I thought I was playing it cool, but I was probably absolutely gushing entirely. But yeah, what a time. So they take the stage and the crowd fills and the set is just unbelievable. And Sulin absolutely shreds and faces are getting melted in the front row and there's a pit and there's crowd surfing and there's a bunch of old guys like myself just singing along. Todd is just fist pumping like a madman. It's pure energy and euphoria. And at the conclusion of the show, they say they've got one last song and people start shouting out requests and this and that, a song that they haven't heard, they've got a connection to for one reason or another, just all these beautiful Propagandy fans. And I just arc my back and holler at the ceiling, "Duplicate Keys, Icaro." And Chris just turns in my direction and he's like, "Who said that?" And I, like a good student, kind of the obedient students that I teach, I put my hand in the air and he's like, "Oh," in his glorious Canadian accent, "Oh, is that you, Nathan?" And they break into Duplicate Keys, Icaro and it is just unbelievable. We dance and we sing and it's pure energy and the end of the show just it just hits so hard. And again, as they always do, they come down and they engage with the crowd, and everyone is together, and we're trading stories, and I'm connecting with Todd at this stage. And back in 2019, I think he'd only really started to really sink his teeth into his painting and his art. And I still talk to him to this day. Occasionally we'll trade a few messages back and forth and talk about art and, you know, that very strange country that separates Canada and Australia and what's going on there politically. And I know that they've got an album coming out in 2025, and I know that they've been working on it for some time. And according to Todd, it's an absolute banger. Our faces are going to be melted again. And, you know, it just makes me think it's a good family to be a part of, this strange propaganda family, separated, sparsely populated all across the globe. You know, we're disconnected, I guess, and kind of interspersed. But look, your podcast helps to bring us all together. So thank you so much for all you do. And, you know, never forget, stick the fucking flag up your goddamn ass, you sons of bitches. Thanks so much, guys. Keep up the fantastic work.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nathan, for calling in. Nathan submitted pictures to me in a project, which I haven't announced yet, but I wrote a book, Steve, and Nathan did some pictures for the book. So pretty cool. We got some Australian stuff in this project. I will be talking a lot more about that project in the future, I'm sure, because it nearly ruined my life.
Yeah, let's just gloss over it for now, and we'll have a lot coming up with that coming forward.
Yeah. I love how Nathan really tracks his own personal growth and talks about how his own teaching has benefited from Propagandi's work, because I personally agree. Many teachers have appeared on this podcast, including Keith, who talked about this at length. Many college professors have talked about it. So I'm glad to hear another teacher's perspective on how Propaganda matters to their own pedagogy. I also agree that Supporting Cast is flawless, maybe the greatest rock record in the history of rock, in my most inferior of opinions. Great recap from the Corner Hotel show in Australia, and thank you to Nathan for taking such awesome photos from that show. Phenomenal message, Nathan. So very appreciated.
Love an Australian voicemail.
Oh yeah,
Like,
super
come on,
great.
that's awesome.
Dude, what do we got here? We got Brazil, we got Australia, we got Canada, we got US. We got at least 4 countries involved so far in these voicemails. Pretty awesome, pretty cool. Okay. Next voicemail, let's hear it.
Hey, Greg, this is Tyler from Rochester, New York. And man, this song. I remember seeing the email from Chris's Patreon a few mornings ago and thinking it was just another one of his cover songs, but remember seeing the phrase, our new song, and I kept thinking about that as I was taking the trash out and then running back upstairs in case my hopes were true, and they were. Of course, with the first few lines of the song, it felt familiarly political, reminding me of the first track, or the opening track from Failed States. But what really knocked me on my ass was how profoundly introspective and emotional the tone of the song shifted into. This song reminds me of a sort of long-reaching sequel to Devil's Creek. Chris still isn't fully resolved with everything in his life that brought him to this moment, but who is? What's important is that he's learned to accept himself for who he is, and he's frightened, angry, full of love, and frustrated with the movements of the world. And I think that a lot of us are feeling a lot of the same things. And what's crazy to me is that the landscape of emotions feels so relatable to me. So many lines cut so close to the bone with this one. Like, I ain't saying it's cool, it's fucked up. It cost me a few friends. That really rings true for me. And so does I power through the waves of disappointment. Maybe not quite thriving, but I'm buoyant and I'm at peace these days. Give or take a fit of blinding rage. I can't remember the last time a song from any band hit me this hard. I know a lot of people have said that this is their new favorite Propaganda song, and I think I might be in that camp too. This is like Back to the Motor League or an iteration or a duplicate Keys of Caro. This one's big. And I can't wait to hear the rest of the record, and I'm so grateful to have this band in my life. They're such a gift. And thank you for doing their podcast. That's a real gift too. Anyhow, take care of yourself. I hope you're doing well, and be well. Have a good one. Thanks. Bye.
Tyler from Rochester. Rochester, New York? Rochester, Minnesota? Probably New York. I'm going with New York.
Rochester, New York. What a budding metropolis Rochester, New York is. Have you been to Rochester recently?
So many times. Home of Kodak. Maybe Polaroid, Kodak, maybe both. I can't remember.
I believe it's also home of Nalgene.
Oh, are you serious?
I believe so. Again, if anyone from Rochester, New York is listening to this, many, many years ago, I used to run a women's disc golf event to try and like introduce women to the sport and provide low entry point and like provide them with a whole bunch of free stuff to show up. And I reached out to because Nalgene, I believe, based in Rochester, I reached out to them to see if they could do a donation for the players packs for all the women that joined the event, and they said no.
Very cool. Well, Rochester, I could pound a Jenny Cream Ale pretty much any time. Love their beers they do over there. And yeah, I've been to Rochester. I saw Bad Religion there one time, and I interviewed Mike, from the guitar player from Bad Religion, in a coffee shop in Rochester, New York, before their show that they did at a venue called Anthology. I published an interview with a guitar player from Bad Religion on Classical Ideas podcast for no reason other than I was just pumped to talk to somebody from Bad Religion. I think we talked about cycling mostly. I can't remember. It was 5 years ago. Yes. Okay, let's hear the next voicemail.
Hey guys, I don't know if the first part comes through, but my name is Zach. I'm from Central California, kind of in the middle of nowhere. First of all, I appreciate the podcast. You guys do some amazing work. And I don't know if this pertains particularly to At Peace itself, but more to Propaganda's entire discography. That they're my favorite band, and as much as I love them, I would really love for their work to stop being more and more relevant every day I wake up. But, can't wait for the new album. And I think that's it. Later.
Zach from California. Thank you for calling in, Zach. I believe Zach and Tyler both saw my call on Reddit for voicemails. So thank you for calling in from the Reddit post that I made on the Propaganda subreddit. Thank you for calling in from California. All right, let's hear the next one.
What's going on, guys? I'm going to make this quick because I'm on the shitter at work right now. But regarding the new song At Peace, I think I'm just really excited for this album. I'm not very familiar with Victory Lap or Failed States nearly as much as I am with the Fat Wreck records and supporting cast. I think that was Epitaph. I don't really remember. But for the ones that I am familiar with, it seems like a big message was always the preservation of the memories and everything, and the stories they talked about, at least especially for today's empires. And this new record being At Peace, I mean, with everything going on in the United States right now with the pseudo takeover that Elon Musk and the oligarchies and rich hedge fund billionaires have had, I think the best message you could possibly be sending is to be at peace and not let this shit overwhelm you. I think way too many people are forgetting that you can't get obsessed with this shit. You will get burnt out and scared and sick, and that's exactly what these fucking the powers that be, I guess, will say. That's exactly what the goal of all of the executive orders and all of the press and just trying to scare people to death. You have to stay calm and collected, not let this shit overwhelm your personal and mental life as best as you can, which is fucking difficult. But, I mean, as long as you're doing your best to stay informed but not obsessed, I think that's the best you can really do. And I really love that Chris is going in this direction. I hope for the album, I hope it's a sort of grandpa sits you on his lap and tells you to be calm sort of vibe that I got from the first track. I really loved it. I'm very excited for the upcoming release. All right, have a good one.
Okay, so I didn't catch their name on this one, but I believe that person said they were calling in while sitting on the toilet at work. And they make some very good points from sitting on said toilet about not letting the state of the world overwhelm you as much as we possibly can. Everybody knows what is going on in this world right now, and I really appreciated that centering focus in that message about not letting the world overwhelm you so much. So thank you for calling in from the toilet.
Speaking of toilets,
yes.
Is there a podcast out there that takes place only on the toilet? Like where both co-hosts, they only record while they're simultaneously pooping?
This is something that you could submit to Comedy Central probably as a show premise.
Just like Poop Pod, and you just and the
Pod!
the episodes you'd obviously have to work it so that both of you like you train your bodies to poop at the same time every day, and you just like spontaneously have a conversation while both pooping ever, and it would be the most obscenely weird podcast. But
you are welcome
Poop
for the brilliant idea, Poop Pod listeners out there. You heard it here first. Just send Steve his royalties when you become millionaires. Any amount is good. Steve will take royalties in any amount for Poop Pod. Okay, let's hear the next voicemail.
Hey, this is Matt Whipple from Philadelphia. I really love the song At Peace. It's really good. I can't wait to see what the rest of the album holds, but that's not why I called. I called to say, fuck the Jets. Go Phillies. Go Flyers. Go Birds. I can't even say fuck the Jets. I have two friends that live in Winnipeg. So fuck you, Chris Hanna.
Okay, thank you to Matt from Philly swooping in with some Philadelphia sports love. Congrats on your Super Bowl, you freaking jerks. Love you very much. I was happy that Saquon got his ring. So I'm very upset about it, but I am also very congratulatory at the same time because Saquon's an all-timer and there's no denying.
Speaking of Philadelphia, a wonderful Philadelphia band just dropped their new song from their new single from their new record coming out. The new Gridiron single, Mascot, came out last week. Awesome.
I will check it out. Thank you for telling me. I've never heard of this band, but I'm very excited.
They're very much centered around Philadelphia sports.
Sweet.
That band, so they're awesome.
Okay, well, it looks like we got one more voicemail, so let's follow this one up. Last one, and then we'll chat a little bit about Untitled before we bring this this fun time episode in for a landing. Here we go. Last one.
My God, new propaganda is what the world needs. It's what we need. This is set up to just be an absolutely amazing record, and I cannot wait. Been listening for days. Probably the first 10 listen throughs, literally bawling. Something hit with that riff, with those lyrics. It was just absolutely phenomenal, and I cannot wait for more. Come to Buffalo. Go Bills. Propaganda. Let's go, baby.
Okay, so I love that we followed up a Philly sports fanatic with a Buffalo sports fanatic. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills. Okay, so thank you for calling in from Buffalo. Love it. You probably live down the street from me. Buffalo is one of those kinds of places where you get everywhere in 10, 15 minutes. So this person's probably like in a suburb a couple miles from me. Real funny. Thank you for calling in from Buffalo. Thank you to all of our fabulous voicemail participants. What a good journey. I'm so stoked that actually went well. Whenever you put out calls for voicemails, it's like, okay, people actually have to do it now. And for a while, I wasn't getting any, so I was posting these sarcastic Instagram stories like, haha, I've gotten 0 so far. This is going great. But then we got a whole bunch, man. What a good time.
And like if you put a deadline on it, they all come in 5 minutes before the deadline.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. Oh, I actually just got a text message from from Keith Gauga.
Wow.
Keith.
A live text message from Keith.
Hello, Keith. Okay, let me see if Keith had any particular things to say. Keith and I have been texting a whole lot lately, and it is very, very awesome to hear from my pal Keith more often these days. He didn't submit anything super specific, but he did send me a 475-page Google Doc of our first podcast notes that we all made together. I don't know if people realize this, but there are thousands of pages of notes that have gone into the creation of this podcast over the last 5 years. It is absolutely crazy. So yeah, been in touch with Keith a lot lately. Great to hear from him. Hello, Keith. Okay, let's chat about the music for Untitled from Where Quality is Job Number One. You know, it'd be really funny. I was thinking about this. I have no idea any details about this song. I didn't ask the band. They're a little busy right now doing things. The last thing that Jord needs is another email from me saying, Jord, tell me about this Practical Joke song you guys included. Wouldn't it be funny if this was like an actual metal cover of like a real band? Like, wouldn't that be crazy if this was like, like a Death cover or something like that from like the 80s? And I'm just like, this is a joke throwaway song. Wouldn't that be funny if it was like a real song?
I'm about to spring something on you that's not planned for this episode. So you are going to be playing the part of Jord here.
Oh, God.
And I'm going to be playing the part of Greg. And I'm going to ask you about this song. And you're going to tell me what you think Jord would have said had you emailed him.
Ask.
Hey, Jord, you might remember me. My name is Greg from such famous podcasts as Unscripted Moments and Classical Ideas. I was just wondering, what's the story with Untitled?
Geez, I can't really remember. I think that we were in Chris's mom's basement for this one, recording it on maybe it was a Tascam 4-track. I can't really remember. I do remember that Chris's cat, Joe, used to pee on my drum set, and I have a vivid memory of recording this song and jamming out while wafts of piss cat smell just blew in my face. Every time I would hit a drum, cat piss smell would hit me in the face. And the reason why the song is so fast is that I wanted it to be over faster so that I could get away from my piss smelling drum set. Other than that, I can't really remember, but that's it. That's what I got for you.
Did you have a better time recording this song or the Venom cover?
Venom. Yeah, Venom. Yeah, Venom's awesome.
Because the Venom cover was done in an attic and this one was done in a basement.
Yeah, the attic was hotter. It was hot up in that attic. Okay, cool. Steve, do you have any thoughts on this particular song in general, on this little jam out?
I mean, I don't have any thoughts that I want to highlight.
Okay. I mean, we got a cover.
Which is awesome.
We got a couple covers. Okay, we got 3 covers. Ready? Okay. The first one is by our Discord friend Craig and his son Hamish. Let's hear Craig and Hamish performing Untitled from Where Quality is Job One. Okay, that was very unexpected.
Love it.
Yeah, one of the best covers ever. Okay, so in reaction to Craig and Hamish, I did a cover as well, And do you want to see the instrument that I performed my cover on? I have it right here.
I would love to.
I
love that.
It's this. Hold on.
Zoom is going to take out the sound. It's not going to work, but
Oh, dude, the battery died. Okay. For the record, I'm holding a Hello Kitty automaton, which is a famous Japanese children's toy. Let's hear my automaton cover. This thing was $49, by the way.
$49. Are you kidding me? That was $49?
49 American greenbacks is this thing. And I bought it for Gloria for Christmas. And I also bought the boys one as well. So I spent $100 freaking dollars on automatons. And so the reason why I did an automaton cover of Untitled is because I had to get something for my $49. Let's hear my automaton cover. Here it is. Wow. What did you think of that?
I mean, super impressive. But if I could just highlight one thing of the way that when you said that you paid 49 American dollars for that automaton right there.
Yeah.
The way you said it. Have you listened to the Typo Negative Origin of Feces fake live record?
Probably. I've listened to a
At the
lot.
beginning when the crowd is heckling and Peter Steele is talking and like shouting back at the crowd.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "You guys paid 15 American dollars to come to this show." And the way you said that reminded me exactly of the way Peter Steele says 15 American dollars.
Hey, I must have heard it because that probably subconsciously rubbed off on me in delivering that line of dialogue for this particular podcast. Yes. Okay. So then after I did my automaton cover, my daughter was in her bedroom behind me and she came out and I said, "Hey, Gloria, I need you to do this automaton improvised for 10, 15 seconds for the podcast." So this is Gloria's automaton cover of Untitled from Where Quality is Job Number One. Take it away. All right.
That was the best one.
Genius. She had a couple good little licks in there too. I was pretty stoked on it. All right. So Steve, great episode. I'm really pumped that we managed to turn this quote unquote song from an actual real record label release by Propagandy into something that we could have an excuse to hang out on this Friday and chill. Yeah,
I think overall, I think our ability to take short, otherwise more or less meaningless songs and turn them into over an hour's long worth of discussion is just awesome.
With the voicemails, I think this episode is going to be like 100 minutes long.
Yeah, so sorry to everyone who came to list thought that this was going to be just like a quick and breezy episode. No, we've drawn this out as long as humanly possible.
I apologize to the band. I'm sure when they see this pop up, they are going to be like, "Oh God!" Like we really do embarrass them, and they are such good sports about our absurdity on this podcast. Yeah,
just like. Yeah, we embarrass them, but like we're not like Harm's Way Running Man meme embarrassing them.
No. What would you rank Untitled from Where Quality is Job Number One among the entire catalog of Propaganda songs?
I would rank it. I mean, here's the thing. I love the scream in the song. I love that. So it's not at the bottom because the screen single-handedly moves it up. But I would say it's verging on bottom, but thanks to the scream, it's not bottom.
Is it a 1?
Yeah, I'm going to give it maybe a 1.3.
Okay, what is lower than this song for Propaganda in your opinion? What is lowest?
Oh God, there's a lot. There's some stuff like, man, I'm gonna make some people upset right here.
Oh God, are you gonna take put this above some LP tracks?
So, and not to any because of the song specifically,
Yeah.
but I've never enjoyed Ska Sucks.
I like this song more than Ska Sucks. I like it more than Showdown for sure. I can't stand Showdown. And I don't care. You Showdown lovers, you come at me. Bring it. I like John K. Sampson's on my side. John K. Sampson said on this podcast that Showdown is not a good song. I like Untitled from Where Quality is Job One more than Showdown.
Yeah, I mean, I also like this better than Come to Sabbath.
Oh yeah,
me too. But yeah, Ska Sucks. Yeah, the song's good. It's all right. But the amount of it's all of the other stuff surrounding it. That's none of the band's fault specifically, you know. And the fact that Ska Sucks was everyone's. So many people's entry point and only reference point for the band makes me dislike the song because it's not an accurate representation. Like when I had that conversation with Bo at Tied Down 2 years ago about trying to come on the pod, and he said, "Oh, the band that does Ska Sucks, not into them."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like it's a really horrible misrepresentation, and I think because it's a bad misrepresentation of the band, that's why it's that low in my list for me.
Dude, if you come and you tell me that your entry point to the band was Tertium Non-Dater and you don't like them, hey, so be it. If you come to me and you tell me that Ska Sucks is what you know by this band and you don't like them, you can go to hell. You can go straight to hell. So anyway, yes, I do not respect Bo's stance on that because the propaganda erasure in the world is very real, and we're here to rectify the sins of the music loving world because we know the truth. We know the truth here.
Yeah, and I think certain people just maybe haven't had the right exposure, and it's just. And not to their own fault, and they just felt like they didn't need to look into it. But I guarantee all these people whose only entry point was Ska Sucks and there was I'm out. I guarantee if they just tried maybe a tiny bit harder, literally the minimal amount of effort, you would find something that resonates with you. Bo lists music he listens to all the time on Hardlore. I guarantee you there's propaganda songs that he would listen to and he'd be like, that song rips.
Yeah. Put on Today's Empires, Tomorrow's Ashes, the title track, or Mataka Marisa Kun Rasakan, and tell me that you're not into that. Bring it. Okay. Ooh, hey, guess what? Keith just emailed or texted me and told me that he's going to send in a voicemail. Yeah. So if Keith sends in a voicemail, it will be on the end of this episode. If Keith does not send in a voicemail, it will not appear. So I'm just going to leave that as an editing surprise. You're not even going to know.
Oh,
man. And if it's on the end, you're going to know. Well, Steve, is that our episode for Untitled? Have we beaten this horse to death at this point?
I think so. I mean, we've been recording ourselves for over an hour at this point.
Yeah, we're 65 minutes into this. All right. Well, everybody, At Peace is a new Propaganda song out now, and it rips. And I'm real excited about that new record. And I'm glad that we knocked out the episode for Untitled. And I think that our future episodes, I think what we're going to do is we're going to do White, Proud, and Stupid soon. I think we're going to do In Flagrante Delicto pretty soon. Maybe we'll get around to doing COINTELPRO pretty soon. There might be a Today's Empires, Tomorrow's Ashes, mini episode not hosted by us coming out pretty soon. Got some cool stuff in the works, pal. But thank you so much for listening out there, everybody. You can email me at propagandipod@gmail.com and on Instagram at propagandipod. And I'm on Blue Sky now, too. Just search my name. I'm there.
Yeah, and just search Greg on all these places because I'm not around anywhere anymore.
I'm so proud of you because that rules. Okay, everybody, talk to you soon. Goodbye.
Bye.